So you're thinking about starting a podcast, but you're wondering what the heck is a podcast host? What is a podcast hosting platform? Well, in this video, I'm going to explain simply, with no tech jargon, exactly what a podcast hosting platform is and why they are essential to your podcast. Hey, I'm Mark Asquith, CEO and co-founder of Rebel Base Media, where we make a podcast hosting platform called Captivate.fm, one of the world's most simple yet most powerful podcast hosting platforms, where you can get a 7-day free trial at Captivate.fm. Now, what is podcast hosting? Very simply put, a podcast hosting platform is the middle ground between you, the podcaster, and the directories, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and more. And a podcast hosting platform is essentially an online software platform that will do a number of things. It will allow you to create a podcast show, and it will allow you to upload podcast episodes, including, of course, uploading your MP3 files, uploading your episode titles, uploading your show notes and your descriptions, your cover art, your episode cover art, and more. Telling the directories things like the episode numbers of your episodes. Things like, is my episode or is my show indeed explicit? And what that podcast hosting platform will also do is it will generate what we call an RSS feed, really simple syndication. And this is a method of letting podcast directories like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify know that your podcast exists. And every time you publish, it's a way of notifying them that you have published a brand new episode. And your podcast hosting platform automatically generates that podcast RSS feed. One of the other major things that a podcast hosting platform does for you is it makes it very easy to submit your podcast to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. In fact, many podcast hosts, including Captivate.fm, have very simple distribution centers. The other thing that a podcast hosting platform does, of course, which is integral to your life as a podcaster, is tells you how many downloads your show, your podcast has received on an episode by episode level, and of course, at a higher show level. Many podcast hosts do so much more than that. Captivate.fm, for example, will generate you a very simple podcast website. It will give you a plethora of podcast marketing tools, including a single subscription link, a one-click sponsor kit, and so much more. It will also, of course, give you an embeddable podcast player for your website and allow people to subscribe to your podcast very, very easily. In short, a podcast hosting platform like Captivate.fm will make it easy to create your podcast online. It will make it easy to generate an RSS feed, which you can one-click submit to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Podchaser, and more. It will give you all of your download analytics and tell you exactly where, when, and how your podcast is being downloaded across the whole world. And a good hosting platform such as Captivate.fm will, of course, give you extra tools to help you market, grow, and promote your show. So a podcast hosting platform is vital to the success of your podcast. In fact, you need a podcast host to create a successful show. If you have any questions on podcast hosting, go ahead and let me know in the comments. If you want to look at Captivate.fm, you can try Captivate for 7 days completely free at Captivate.fm. And for more podcast industry education, tutorials, and straight talking explainers, go ahead and subscribe to the channel.